Hello, everyone. Welcome to the lineup. I'm Rick Goff, your host for tonight, along with Aaron Smith and Brandon Whitley, one of the best producers in the game. We are coming to you from the Athletic Sports Group Studios in Louisville, Kentucky. And man, we are 1 week away from the TBS Nationals. I can't wait.
It's gonna be an absolute, just awesome display of baseball. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, looking out at the forecast for next week, man, it looks like the weather's going to cooperate. But one thing that you can't count on is Mother Nature.
You were right, but the good thing about playing out in E-Town, it's all turf.
It is turf, but I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter if you have turf or not. Lightning prevents you from playing.
True.
No matter
Very true.
what.
Could be sunny and 75, but you got lightning within 5 to 10, you ain't playing.
Yeah, so we're excited. Can't wait. I've talked to a majority of the coaches, and they are excited to come here to E-Town and put their teams up against the other teams from across the country. We have set a record this year for TBS Nationals. We have over 100 teams from 20 different states will be here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great array of talent from ages 8 through 13. Just unbelievable that the talent level that's going to be here all in one place, under one roof, 1 week. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But right now, we normally we do a recap, but some things came to my attention in the past 3 or 4 days that we just have to talk about.
Have to.
So we're going to skip the recap this week, and we want to share with you some videos that were shared with me with some kids. How do I put this?
They just want to have fun.
They're just enjoying the game.
They just want to have fun.
They're loving the game.
Yep.
It makes you step back and pause and think about what the game is really about and what it's for.
And it's always the young kids, too.
Kids.
You don't see, like, the 12 and 13-year-old kids doing some of this stuff, but, like, it's the young kids that are just, like, starting to play and starting to figure out, okay, I like this, that are having the most fun with it. It's awesome.
And the most inopportune times, they don't care.
Just so random.
When they feel the need.
When they feel the need, they do it, and who cares?
When they have that feeling, it overcomes them, and they have to take it.
100%.
So this first video that we're going to watch is this young boy that comes up to the plate, and
I don't even know what that dance is called, and I should, but it's impressive. He hits it.
I wouldn't say I'm too old, but actually, surprisingly enough, I think, is it called the gritty?
I think, is it? Yeah, that is the gritty.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the cha-cha slide?
What
happened to that?
So watch this young man as he comes up.
He's just hitting it.
He brings up his bat, right? He walks up with his bat, and then all of a sudden,
it's like, bam.
Just like that.
Bam.
He breaks out into it. Now, listen, look at the video closely, because not only does he break out into it, the catcher with all his equipment on decides he's going to join in.
He's having fun.
And then
Why
if you
not?
look at the pitcher, he decides he's going to join in.
Why not? Coach is over there just like, let it be. Let him have some fun.
And you know what, Coach? Bravo to you, because that is what you should do.
Exactly.
Let it be.
Let it be. Let him have fun.
This is the game in its purest form right here.
Let the kids play.
I love it. I mean, it is absolutely unbelievable. I've had some moments in the last couple of days that just kind of, when you're stressed out or things aren't going your way, and I pulled this video up a dozen times.
You just watch and laugh at it.
And it makes me smile.
Yep.
And I am rejuvenated in youth baseball and what these kids are doing. So I don't know the names of these kids or the teams, but man,
who cares? They're having fun.
If I knew who you were, I'd have you on the show and talk to you about this, because this is awesome. I can't watch this enough. This is great. So the next video is another video of a kid that he was going to do it his way.
His way or the highway. This one was arguably more funny than the other one.
He's going to do it his way or the highway.
Yep.
And this is great as he is trying to score from third base. He's going to score his way.
Yep. Parents are yelling and screaming.
Parents are yelling at him, telling him to run. And
he wants no part of it.
Timmy here, little Timmy, just having none of it.
None of it.
He's going to somersault
his way,
the whole way home from third base. Look at his coach here. His coach is like just pleading with him. There goes the ball by. He's looking at the baseball. These kids are running around. They're going to tag him out.
Yep.
But this kid's like, you know what, coach? Relax. I got it.
Stands up. And then he runs all the way back.
This is the best part.
Runs back to the dugout.
He runs back to the dugout. So he refuses to run here.
Yep.
The coach is pleading with him. The parents are pleading with him. And he's got this under control the whole way.
At the end of the day, let the kids play. Let them figure it out.
If I was that kid, when I got back to the dugout, I'd look at the coach and go, what was you worried about?
I had it. All good.
I know how much time I had.
Yeah, we're good.
But the great thing is he won't run from third to home, but he runs from home back to the dugout.
Yeah, he's got to get back there. Got to get some water after
So that is priceless. I love that video. So that's 2 videos that just make you smile and make you feel good about baseball, youth baseball.
Yep.
Instead of all the drama and everything that we have. This last video is one of those videos where you could headline this by "What were you thinking?"
Yeah, it's just a pure case of let's go out in the backyard and play wiffle ball.
That's what this video reminds me of. This kid has played a lot of wiffle ball.
He has in his day,
and he is abiding by those rules.
Yep, he has gotten pegged a time or two, rounding first, going to second. He's gotten hit.
And he's got older brothers. There's no doubt this kid has older brothers.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
That
just beat up on him.
He's beat up on him.
That was me.
And they peg him with a wiffle ball.
Yep.
And now is his time.
It's his time. Right at it.
And, we can laugh about this video because the player ends up being okay. But watch the player here as he is declared out. It looks like somebody just shot him and he just fell over.
Oh, Lord. And I know that doesn't feel good as an 8 or 9-year-old to get hit with a baseball.
No, I mean, it doesn't.
But still, I mean,
I believe at this age they use those safety balls that are like a mush ball.
Okay.
Well, that's normally what they use. I mean, maybe this league is different.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this kid just falls over, topples over like a building and falls down. And you just have to chuckle at the kid's reaction.
Yep, teachable moment. I mean, he steps and throws. It's perfect for him.
And
just happens to be, in his
head
area.
And I'm sure the kid is like, well, why isn't he out?
Because this isn't wiffle ball, Johnny.
I got him with a ball before he got to first base, so he should be out.
Oh, Lord.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed those videos as much as we did. It brings a smile to your face during this long year of travel baseball. And, we enjoyed them here at the office. I watch these all the time if I'm having a bad day. And it instantly makes my day a whole lot better. So, congratulations to all those kids. You do you. Keep doing you.
You do you. Let
well,
the kids play.
Kid throwing the ball.
Yeah, let's correct that a little bit. But
let's address that.
It's a good thought. Not the right sport per se. Wiffle ball is a whole different beast, but you do you.
Well, we probably should check the rule reference, right? Because like this video says here, there's need refreshers on the rules.
Maybe. Hey, maybe it's legal there. Who knows?
Oh, goodness. Well, again, that made my weekend, this whole weekend. I couldn't wait to talk about this on the show because it made me smile, it made me chuckle. So thank you to all those children in those videos for making my day and making my week. That was much needed and gets me going into the TBS Nationals. That's going to be a little bit more fierce competition and a little more taken seriously.
Oh, 100%. I think the level of competition that you have out there is, watch out.
I don't think we're going to see too many kids breaking out the gritty and.
No, I don't think so.
In the middle of the bat.
I don't think so.
So, all right, let's move on to our next topic. This is something that has been plaguing youth baseball for years. I don't think it's ever going to stop, but it's kids jumping teams mid-season. And I think it's only going to get worse with the transfer portal.
I do as well. Yeah.
Kids see these college kids jumping teams and changing teams, so they're going to figure out why can't we?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are times and needs for when people should jump teams. That being, you don't see eye to eye with the coach as far as how he is handling your specific child. Maybe you feel he's abusive, not necessarily physically, but maybe mentally.
Yeah, just not the right fit.
It's just not the right fit.
Yeah.
But if you have to do what's best for your family. Maybe the team doesn't travel, and we've talked about it in previous shows.
Or team travels too much. Whatever the case may be. I mean,
but
there are certain instances where, okay, we can see this out.
You can understand.
Yeah.
But the ones where kids are jumping ship mid-team because another team has offered them a spot and they think the grass is greener on the other side, that's problematic.
It is, 100%. And the one big comparison that I want to kind of pose out here is, you look at what college baseball has done now and really what college athletics has done now. The main driver for kids transferring now is to go get a paycheck, right? At least that's what I think. It's to go out. It's to go out and get something. At the youth level, unless it's a big, huge national team and you had to try out, you've been waiting on this for a year, and you've had ample time to tell the coach things like that. I could see that, but just jumping ship to another team that has a better record, I think it's a problematic, very toxic way to go through travel baseball.
Yeah, it's not good, and I tell coaches all the time. I warn them when I find out that a player has left another team to join their team. And if I get a chance to talk to them, I don't seek them out by any means. But if I do get a chance to talk to them about the situation, I always caution and warn them and remind them that, hey, they left one team already to come to you. What makes you think
what's stopping them?
They're not going to leave you if something better comes along?
Exactly.
And by definition of better, unfortunately, in this youth world, I've been involved in 20 plus years in youth baseball, and I see it all the time, that coaches and teams are actually paying for certain things for these players to leave certain teams. And
I bet. Yeah. Hey, your hotel rooms are covered.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're paying for a plane ticket to come out.
Yep.
And what 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old kid would not be enamored with that.
100%. And even they, they don't directly talk to the kid about it. They talk to the parents and say, hey, if you come play for us for the rest of the year, here's a rental car.
Well, and not only that, we're not going to charge you anything.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay.
You don't have to pay anymore. You're good.
Right, you're good. We'll take care of the rest of it. We'll provide you uniforms and everything else. And even the parents, it can be a little intoxicating for them to know that your child is wanted.
Exactly.
But, man, I see some of these rosters now where a kid shows up on 5 or 6 different teams in the same year. And I don't understand it at this age level.
Oh, I completely agree. And the biggest thing is when I was coaching a couple years back, like a high school kind of level team, for certain tournaments, the norm was to go pick up 2 or 3 new pitchers, right? So let's say you had a tournament at the end of June and you've got one mid-July. Well, those kids are off on their normal team. You got to pick up 2 or 3 more pitchers, come out for that weekend and throw. That was instilled that is the norm.
At the older age level.
At the older age level, 100%.
Yeah. I think that's understood.
And even at the younger level, having that same mindset of, okay, these kids have played long enough, time to pick up new ones. And the big driver of it is the coach. The coach that wants different kids on his team to make his roster better. That's the problem that needs to be fixed. Not parents asking and looking at different stuff.
Let's be honest. At the older age level, there's many factors.
Yeah.
Right? You could have a job
that
interferes, that doesn't allow you to play, so teams need to pick up players to do that.
Yeah.
You could have, financial situation, car troubles. There's a lot of reasons why at the older age levels. I mean, let's face it. I tell everybody that baseball, youth baseball, even all the way up to college, it's like a construction cone. It's very wide at the bottom, and it gets narrow as it gets to the top. And the reason that it gets narrow at the top is because at the bottom of the cone is basically your 7-year-olds, your 8-year-olds, your 9-year-olds. Honestly, majority of those kids are playing baseball because their parents want them to play baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
When you get to the top of that cone, that represents less kids.
Yeah.
And kids drop out of playing baseball for many reasons. We've talked about this on the show before. They drop out because of a job. They drop out because of girls. They drop out because of just the desire is not there to put the time and the energy and the effort in.
Whatever the case may be, of course.
So when you get up to the top, there's not that many baseball players up there, so they can play at that level. So when those kids become unavailable, they have to pick up kids or kids do whatever. And so we get that. I totally get that. I don't have a problem with it at the older levels, but at the younger levels, I don't say I got a problem with it, but it bothers me.
It bothers me as well because, like I said, it's not the the average Joe mom and dad that are actively going out looking for 5 or 6 different teams to play on. It's coaches from the other team that wants the kid, come on over, we'll take care of you.
Sure.
So that right there, that's the issue that I have with it, is opposing coaches or coaches that are going out and recruiting 11 and 12-year-olds or 9 and 10-year-olds or whatever. Because effectively that's what it is. All the way through the top, you're recruiting kids.
But I think part of that, the reason that happens in today's world, but it's been happening for 20 years.
Yeah.
So maybe preference that, Isaac. I've been involved 20 years. It happens for 20 years. But I think the biggest reason that it happens now in today's society is social media.
Yep.
Because these kids are friends. So if you have a team, say from Texas, and I have a team from Michigan, and 2 or 3 of my kids are friends with 2 or 3 of your kids in your team, well, all of a sudden, they know that I'm not playing this weekend. So these kids go, hey, man, we'd love for you to come down to Texas and play with us this weekend. We got a big event down here that we want you to play in. So the coach ends up calling, and those kids go down and play with them. That I don't have a problem with.
Neither do I. That
Team
seems
A
completely.
is off and not playing that weekend.
Seems completely harmless. That part of it does.
But where do you draw the line?
Where you draw the line of in that exact scenario, right? How are these kids from Michigan getting there? Where are they staying? What hotels or what uniforms are they wearing?
Rumors fly about.
And if all that is covered,
hang on just a second.
Yeah.
Rumors are out there every time. I can't tell you, Aaron. I talk to teams after every big tournament. Anywhere between 1 and 4 teams, every big tournament, I talk to somebody that played in it.
Yeah.
And 75% of the time, coaches say, well, they brought in 2 kids this weekend to play. They brought these kids in. They don't play with them normally. And then 2 weeks later, you see, now they're full-time members of that team.
Yeah. Could have. I mean, I don't know.
But now here, let me take it a step further.
Okay.
I take 2 of your kids. All right, you have a 12-man roster. I take 2 of your kids halfway through the season. They love playing with me. They like the traveling we do. So they come and play with me. Now you're left with a 10-man roster. You're left with a 10-man
Now I got to go pick up 2 kids.
You got to go pick up 2 kids.
Yep.
And now you have the mindset because you're mad. You know what? It was done to me. I'm going to do it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So he goes and grabs 2 kids locally and brings them up here. Now that coach is short. It's a domino effect.
100% it is. And the biggest thing with where I would draw the line is if the team is absorbing the cost to bring kids in. If that makes sense. So you contact the team from Michigan and say, hey, John and Tim, they really like playing with the other kids. We did a tournament, however long ago together, or we played against each other. Here's the invitation. You have to find your way down. You have to come down. You have to pay for all that stuff, which I'm okay with.
You would like to think that's the way it is.
Oh, 100%. But that's the thing. That's where I draw the line.
Let me share something that's pretty scary with you. In that I know firsthand, personally, over the last 20 years, including this year, that there's players out there that tell coaches, well, I'll come play with you.
You got to cover it.
But I need A, B, and C. A 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 13-year-old. I need A, B, and C. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
And for the coach that does it,
it's the world we live in.
You are not doing
You're not doing anybody a service.
You're not doing
yourself or your team a service.
Your organization, your team, your players, your parents. But I'm telling you.
Yeah. I'm sure it happens.
You guys don't think it's going on, you're fooling yourselves. It happens every year. And it's not the same people doing it year in and year out.
No. It's different every year.
I mean, it just
Different
it's
every
a
year.
major problem, and I wish there was a way to fix it, but I just don't.
With how many pop-up teams and how many all-star teams and elite level teams, there's no way to monitor it.
Well, and if you continue to have open rosters, like PG, for example, they don't care about your roster. I don't care if you're a 9-year-old or a 19-year-old. They don't care.
Nope.
You come and play.
Yep.
You put that uniform on, we don't care.
Exactly. And that's the way they set it up to say, this is how we have tournaments ran, right?
And it frustrates teams, though. Here's the thing that I just shake my head at. These teams complain about it all the time, but they still
go back
and play and refuse to do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the way it's set up.
That's the way it's set up, and
USSSA has a roster and it's frozen at certain points and
grade exemptions, everything that.
They try at least.
I know with Youth World Series, before your first pitch is the last time you can add to a roster, no matter what.
Yeah, but still, that's open, right? It's right up until the last minute.
It's an open roster, and until
right up to the last minute.
If adding a kid or two changes your designation, then you're required to tell me, or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
But then you run into a situation to where teams really need to add kids to go to these events because maybe only 9 kids can go, and so it's a fine line. I don't think that's what people have a problem with. The people have a problem with paying. Basically, let's call it what it is. You're paying 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. You're paying them to go to an event.
100%.
And to leave their team.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of that.
Neither am I.
Not a big fan of that. All right, let's get on to the next thing. This is a segment we introduced a few shows ago that I think you and I have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, I love doing it.
It's called Deal or No Big Deal, and we just kind of bounce topics off of one another and see if it's a deal or a big deal or no big deal.
Yeah.
So I'll start off today. Tommy Tanks. Big Bombs, freshman.
Absolute stud.
Ends up breaking the NCAA record for freshmen.
Most home runs hit as a
by a
freshman.
freshman.
I think he's at 30.
Do you know whose record he broke?
I'm going to take a random shot in the dark. I'm going to say either Will Clark or Rafael Palmeiro.
Great guesses.
Who was it?
Great guesses, but it was actually Todd Green.
Really?
Todd Green, and speaking of Todd Green, he will be here next week.
Ooh.
As a coach.
That's awesome.
He runs the TG Diamondbacks out of Georgia.
You gotta ask him about that. See how he feels.
I'm going to.
Oh, give him a hard time.
Yeah,
hey man, you need like 2 more.
Yeah.
Where was it?
But anyway, Tommy enters the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Now the rumors are flying out there of why Tommy entered the transfer.
I can tell you why Tommy entered the transfer portal.
Well, let's see if what you think is one of the reasons.
Well, I've got 2 reasons.
That flies out there.
Number 1, he wants the money. He is a freshman that just hit 30 bombs, and he is probably one of the best hitters in college baseball.
Okay.
That man wants to get paid. Hang on. Second thing.
Hang on. Let's address the first one first.
Okay.
Let's address the first one first. So you think he transfers because of money?
Yep.
Do you honestly think his NIL deal will be dictated by what school he plays at?
Yes.
You really believe that?
100%.
So his talent doesn't dictate that?
I think his talent got him where he is, but the NIL deal,
those brands are paying for the logo he wears, not his name.
Oh yeah, those NIL deals. It's same thing across all of college athletics. You go to the school. Obviously, your talent got you where you want to be, but you go to the school that pays you more now.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's break that down a little bit. So, do you think? And we're here in Louisville, so we're going to use Louisville as an example.
Okay.
We're not assuming or
not assuming
claiming
anything.
Louisville is involved in anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think if Tommy Tanks was at NC State?
Yep.
And McDonald's wanted to give him an NIL deal?
Yep.
That it would be any different than if he came to Louisville and got an NIL deal from McDonald's? It'd be the same money.
Yeah. So the big argument for that aspect is what's NC State going to offer him versus what's Louisville are going to offer him, or Vanderbilt going to offer him, or whoever, right? If it's me, or if it's really anybody in college athletics, you have never seen this type of legal money changing hands in college athletics. You are now able to go out and go make millions as a college athlete. So
Sure.
and it's the Wild West, right? There's no regulation to it. So what he wants to do as a freshman, okay, I just hit 30 bombs. Who's paying me the most? I'm going to sign a 1-year deal with whoever, and then after my sophomore season, I'm right back in the transfer portal making more money.
So we talked about this. I went to the Louisville, Michigan game yesterday.
Go Cards.
And go Cards.
Go Cards.
And, I was there with a couple of the business partners, and we were talking about the NIL deal.
Mm-hmm.
And how is this not a violation of Title IX?
That's what makes it the Wild West. And see, my big proponent in college, right? What I did all my papers on, what I studied for my 4 years was paying college athletes. How do we do that and get around or work with Title IX?
Yeah, I don't think they want to get around it.
No, work with it.
You want to work with it.
Work with it 100%. But the only thing that I can come up with, or that I've come up with in my 4 years of looking at it, is to pay them an hourly wage. That's the only way you can do it and still be compliant with Title IX, men, women, whoever.
Yeah, but we all know that there's really, for the most part, in schools, there's only 2 sports that make money.
Yeah, 100%.
Basketball and football.
But Title IX, you have to do it for every single one of them.
You do.
Right?
So this NIL deal is very confusing because, let's just call a spade a spade.
Yep.
The women's sports do not draw.
They don't get NIL deals. And well, not saying they don't get NIL deals, but they're not as big. Yeah, they're not as big as star-studded as whatever Tommy Tanks is going to get.
And
yeah.
And in fairness, baseball players are not going to strike NIL deals as big as football and basketball.
Oh, 100%. But for a guy like Tommy White, he's going to go where the bag is.
And here's another thing, too. And this is...
Because typically the bag brings you the team's success. I know that sounds really bad, but...
Okay.
He'll still make less than Archie Manning.
True.
Okay, but let's say this. So Tommy transfers to wherever next year.
Mm-hmm.
Hits 9 home runs and hits 230.
Yeah. That NIL deal just got much smaller, and he's glad he took it with the team he went with.
I don't know. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
If I were him or I was a college athlete, I'm taking 1-year deals, 1-year NIL deals.
All right, so you said that was...
That's the first argument. The second reason, NC State just brought in a 4 or 5-star big power bat, another one, to hopefully keep him there. And I think it pushed him away a little bit because he wanted to be the man on the team as a freshman.
So they brought that kid in. If I'm getting this correctly, and if I'm not, maybe you know a little bit more about it than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But the kid they brought in, he entered the transfer portal too.
Yep.
Right?
I think so. Let me look.
Pretty sure he did. So they bring him in, and Tommy had to know that this was coming, right?
Yeah.
But according to these transfer portal deals, coaches are not supposed to make contact with these players before they go into the portal.
Yep.
And they're not. So how does this kid go into the portal and get picked up by NC State, and Tommy goes into the transfer portal all in the same day? I mean, people had to know.
Oh, 100%. And I, you know.
So that's your 2 things.
Yes. What do you got?
Well, I heard one more rumor that he was going to transfer JUCO.
Okay.
That way he can get drafted.
Okay. I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree with why he's doing it, but...
Well, hang on. I want to be clear. I'm not saying that's what he's doing.
Yes.
The rumors. I told
you.
The rumors were flying around ever since this all broke, right? So the 3 rumors that I heard was better NIL deal.
Mm-hmm.
He transferred because NC State didn't allow him to play the field.
Okay.
And the 3rd rumor is he's going to transfer to JUCO.
Go.
So he can get drafted.
Okay.
Because once you went to college, it's 3 years. I think 3 years you got to get drafted.
You got 3 years.
JUCO, you can get drafted right away.
Yep. But
So Tommy's trying to circumvent that in order to get back.
So the interesting thing with that is, as a senior in high school, he went to IMG in Florida. I mean, that is a very, very high level school that a lot of kids get drafted out of. So the idea that, okay, he was going to be a first or second round pick out of high school at IMG, or he's going to be a for sure pick next year, it doesn't change. Your draft stock doesn't necessarily change that much, I don't think, unless he was a mid-30s, or really, what do they do now? 10 rounds.
Everything's slotted, right? Everything
Yeah.
is slot numbers and money.
Exactly.
So I'm sure Tommy looked at the draft and had people tell him like, hey, you know what? Go play a year in college. If you crush it, you increase your draft.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
I don't think anybody envisioned him having the year that he had.
No, not at all.
Maybe 2 years or something, and you kind of worked like the third year, but I mean, he had immediate success.
Immediate success.
So now he's stuck. Like, man, I got to stay in college 2 more years now.
Mm-hmm.
But if I transfer to go to JUCO, I don't.
But okay, so then does he have to stay a year at JUCO before he gets drafted?
He's got to play 1 year in JUCO.
So
he's 1 year early, basically.
yeah. So then
or maybe he don't. I don't know that.
So
answer.
my thought process
Maybe he enrolls
behind,
in JUCO and that makes him eligible for the JUCO.
if that does immediately, more and more kids will see that and then just go do it.
Yeah, but
Not necessarily position players. I think a lot of pitchers will do
They
that.
have that capabilities.
Yeah.
This is the exception to the rule.
Oh,
He's
100%.
the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But
At the end of the day, where do I think he's going to go? I think he'll go wherever gives him the biggest NIL deal. Just no matter what team it is, if it's University of nowhere in Mississippi, or if it's Vanderbilt or Florida or wherever, he's going to go wherever the biggest NIL deal is. He's going to live his next 2 years in college up, and he's going to play baseball and get drafted.
So what's your official stance? Is it a big deal or no big deal?
I am very pro player, so I don't think it's a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big deal as everybody makes it out
Yeah.
to be. I mean,
It's the world we live in.
whether he's at NC State or
Mhm.
Louisville or
Mm-hmm.
JUCO college or wherever. I mean, he's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid.
He's going to get paid one way or another.
Mhm.
And I think people are trying to make it a big deal because he's leaving NC State, but he's going to play somewhere. I mean,
Yeah,
so
I mean, and you
I
see,
don't really think it's that big of a deal that as people are making it out.
yeah, and you see it in college football and college basketball all the time. Kids transferring in, kids transferring out, and it's me personally. It's kind of nice that baseball kind of caught up to that a little bit.
A 4-year college player is a dinosaur, isn't it?
I mean, for the likelihood of a 4-year college player making it to the league in 2 or 3 years,
That's a better point.
that is
That's a better
MLB
point.
scouts do not look for 4 or 5 year college kids. They don't.
And
If they get
that's-
them, and they
true in
come
all
up,
sports.
yeah. I mean, you look at a guy like, let's say, Aaron Judge. He was a 4-year college guy. He made his MLB debut at 27, 28. He doesn't have a lot of life left in the league. Whereas you look at a guy like Bryce Harper. He made the league at 21, and it seems like he has been in the league forever.
Well, speaking of Bryce, he went the JUCO route.
He went the JUCO
So
route.
he did get drafted right
Yeah.
away.
He skipped a year of high school. His senior year of high school, he played JUCO. Next year, he's on the Nationals.
Yeah.
Mike Trout. Dude seems like he's been in the league forever. He's 30,
Those
31.
guys, I mean, again, those guys are exceptions to the rule. I just
Exactly.
don't- the 4-year college player is probably a good athlete, but he's probably not going to go to the next level.
I think he's a glue guy. In a lot of major league clubhouses, they're glue guys
And
because
not
they've
just
been
Major
around the
League
game for so
basketball,
long. Yep.
Football, same
Yeah,
thing. You don't
exactly.
see these guys stick around for 4 years. No more.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Because the younger you can make it to the league, the more productivity that you have to offer.
I remember, when I was growing up as a kid, I mean, you never saw freshmen playing,
No.
whether it was baseball,
Ever.
college football, college basketball. Freshmen
I
didn't play.
think the first exception was Marshall. I think that was one of the first exceptions.
What do you mean, Marshall?
Marshall University,
As far as what, having freshmen play?
allowing freshmen to play.
yeah.
I think that was one of the one you
Yeah, because that's
after the plane crash. I think that was the petition.
Oh, because
football.
They had to fill
They had to fill the team. So I think that was one of the first teams to do it. And then, from here on out, you saw it more and more and more, and it's almost exclusively
Well,
freshmen.
you hear stories like, I think it was it Kareem or Wilt? I think it was Kareem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he played his freshman year.
No.
one of the greatest players of all time to play his freshman year.
Yeah,
Just-
I
that
mean,
was the way it was
you
back
think about the whole Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. Yeah, he was a freshman trying to play varsity.
then. Yeah.
That's why.
Right. They don't tell you that part of it.
They don't tell you that
they
part
make it
of
sound
it.
like he was a senior, got cut from his varsity.
Yeah, no. Dude was a freshman. And he was probably better, but he was a freshman. Freshmen don't play.
All right, what do you
All
got
right.
for me?
All right, so the one I got. All right, this will go back to the kids having fun. Teams playing music between innings for walk-up songs. Big deal or no big deal?
Overall, it's a no big deal.
Yep.
But I get where parents do make it a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Most youth complexes are built
Very
in
close
quads.
together. Yep.
So there's four fields around there. And I fight this every year at my TBS Nationals, so I'm glad you brought this up.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you're in the middle of an inning on your diamond doesn't mean they're in the middle of an inning on another diamond.
Exactly.
And the coaches are trying to talk to the kids or relay messages
Yep.
verbally. Maybe they don't have signs, they're trying to verbally. And they can't really do that because there's loud music playing on the other field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it becomes a big deal.
And I'm in the same kind of boat. If I always tell people for the Youth World Series, yes, you can play music. I don't have a problem with it. But if I hear certain words, you're turning it off immediately.
Yeah.
If it's too loud,
They have to be edited versions.
yes, me or a tournament director is going to ask you to turn it down. I mean, there's certain stipulations of etiquette. There's etiquette to everything, and I think that the etiquette is,
One year, this was maybe 4 or 5 years ago at the TBS Nationals, we had two teams that were trying to outdo one another with their music.
Oh no, they would have both turned it off immediately. I don't have that.
Well, it started off in good fun, right? It started off in good fun, but as in anything, parents get involved.
They got competitive.
And it just got out of hand. But and stay respectful, kind of keep the volume down to where it's just going out towards your field. Then it was. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
But if it can get out of hand.
Again, if it gets out of hand and me or a tournament director's got to come and talk to you, then it's a big deal.
And that incident took place years ago. They were actually turning the speakers. So it was two diamonds that were kitty corner to one another. And they were turning the speaker and blasting the music towards their field, and the other field was blasting it back. And honestly, those two teams were having fun with it.
Yeah, but the other two
But
teams
the
that they
other
were
two
playing,
fields-
no, they didn't like it very much.
No, they didn't like it very much,
Yeah.
and it was an issue.
Well.
So.
Had that sound funny from speaking of music, the game day tournament this past weekend.
Yeah.
They were playing walk-up songs for all the kids. And
Yeah.
this old black kid walked up and said, "Pretty fly for a white guy."
That's funny. That's funny.
Playing songs like Control of
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can have fun with it, and it's
Yep.
not a big deal.
Exactly.
All right, the next
What you
one.
got?
Savannah Bananas.
Love it.
Deal or no big deal?
I think it's a big deal, but for good reasons only.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that side of baseball is something that nobody has ever seen before, and I think that you're going to see more and more of these independent league teams and organizations start doing stuff like this, because to have that much fun and that much energy, it's like taking it back to being 8 and doing somersaults around,
That's a good point.
right? I think it's awesome.
I do too, because that's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if a team was to try to do something,
It's like the Harlem Globetrotters of
there you go.
basketball.
It's kind of. But if a team tries to do a gimmick, and a gimmick once a month or once a year, I'm not.
It doesn't.
for that.
It doesn't stick.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's
for
no
that.
shtick to it.
I think now it becomes a mockery.
Yeah.
But the Bananas do it.
They do it
every
consistently.
Single day.
Yep.
And talking to fans, they don't come to watch the game.
No,
they
they
come to watch the Savannah Bananas.
Exactly.
That just happen to be playing the game.
Exactly.
But I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Oh, neither
You're
do
still
I.
playing baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You're still playing baseball. You still have the principles that have to go in, right? You have to pitch, you have to hit, you have to throw.
Exactly.
But what they've done is energized a crowd, a young crowd, that, hey, you know what? We just want to go see the show.
Yeah, it's a show.
It's a show.
It's like going to see the Harlem Globetrotters. It's a show that everybody can sit there and enjoy. Kids can go out there and have an absolute blast.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Hey, kudos to them. I'll be honest. In the beginning, when I started seeing this stuff, I rolled my eyes and I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But now that they've kept it up and they do it game in and game out, hey, I'm behind them. I support it.
Yeah.
I would love to see them.
They play at some pretty cool places too. We have Youth World Series will be in Daytona here 2 weeks from now, and the Jackie Robinson Ballpark, who's a single A affiliate of I think it was the Reds for a while. They play there. They just got all new turf, everything like that, and had seen these dudes travel around and put on a show. I think it's awesome. Bring it to new markets.
And you got to be a different type of player to play on that team.
Yeah, I was watching some of their tryout videos.
You can't be an introvert and play on that
No,
team.
you cannot.
You would not fit in.
You will not fit in at all. And quite frankly, you won't make the team.
And you got to be comfortable. I see some of them go out there and playing in kilts. I mean, you got to be comfortable.
You got to be comfortable looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I'd do it.
And it doesn't bother them.
No, I'd do it.
Kind of like what we talked about with these 8-year-old kids. You do you.
You do you. Let the kids play.
Bravo you.
Yep.
That's one of those things that they have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
The kids enjoy it. It seems like the fans enjoy it.
Fans love it.
And I'm all for anybody that's going to get people out to the baseball game, involved in the game, learning the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't play special rules. They don't have.
They just don't have box.
I'm sorry. That's right. They don't have box. So there is an exception to the rule there. But for the most part, they play the game the way it was meant to be played with the rules and everything else. So yeah, I mean, it can be entertaining for sure.
All right, kids playing year-round baseball, deal or no big deal? Let me expand on this a little bit. When I mean year-round baseball, I mean every month of every week of every day of going to different camps, going to do your hitting lessons, doing that 4 or 5 times a week for the year.
See, I'm torn on this one. I'm going to say part of me says no big deal because I remember my youth, right? Sure, I played local, house rec ball. Yeah. But I also come home and played backyard baseball every single day of the summer. Yep. I'm not talking every second day, every third day. Yeah. We played backyard. I was fortunate enough I lived in a neighborhood that had 8, 9 guys already, so we'd play some 4-on-4 baseball or whatever, modified. But we played every single day. Mm-hmm. And we played every single day, being from Michigan and being in the north, we played every single day till the snow hit the ground. Okay. And nothing, it was no big deal. Yeah. But now everything's a little bit more structured. Yep. And it's more like a job. Yep. To these kids and these parents. So then it becomes a kind of a big deal.
You've got your hour-long hitting session for the first time this week. All right. Next week you have 2 different pitching sessions, and then you're going to go and do a bunch of different stuff. And then 2 weeks from now we're going to go play indoor at some random facility in the middle of nowhere. And then we're going to do that for 52 weeks out of the year.
See, I guess a bigger deal for me is these, quote-unquote, these hitting instructors and these pitching instructors. Yeah. That's probably a bigger deal to me.
I agree.
I mean, they're manipulating someone. I don't know, parents, kids, whatever, that they have to do this.
Exactly.
And so that might be. I have a bigger deal with that.
It went from when I was playing. It went from, hey, do you want to do this, to you need to do this in order to play at the next level.
Yeah.
And putting that much extra weight.
And honestly, I bet you if these hitting instructors and these pitching instructors were being 100% honest, that 85% of their clients, quote unquote clients, they know they have no shot at playing at the next level. No.
And that next level could be high school, that next level could be college.
Could be college, right. Yeah. They're just filling them with the pipe dream.
Yep. Fill them up, come 3-4 times a week, and
so, I mean,
we'll see what happens.
That is a big deal to me. But the kids playing year-round, I mean, I don't...
The art of playing year-round I'm okay with, but everything that is involved with that I'm not okay with.
I mean, even in the wintertime, I mean, growing up as a kid, I would throw the wiffle ball inside my house with my little brother.
Yeah.
And
which that part is fine, but the year-round going to different instructors, going to a million different camps and clinics and everything like that, I think it's a big deal for me.
So you're saying it's a big deal because it's structured. So if you're just out there doing it like I described my youth as just playing backyard baseball, but what difference does it make though? What difference is it? You're still out there doing something. Well, okay, you're going to get money involved, but then, so it's not a big deal for the kid then.
But I do think that it is a big deal for the kid because so let's say back in your day, if they had stuff like this, right? If they had the clinics and all the camps and all the instructors, everything like that, and it was very structured, is that something that you would have done?
No.
Is that something that you would have wanted to do? You wanted to play out in your backyard with your 8 or 9 different friends. That's something you wanted to do.
Right. And that's kind of what I'm saying is just because you want to do it, does that make it any less? I mean, it's not a job.
Yeah.
So you're talking about kids playing year-round. Is that a deal or no big deal? To me, I don't think it's a big deal because I played year-round when I was a kid. And it never lessened the love of the game for me. But what I see now is kids that are playing year-round under your terms is that they're not doing it because they love the game.
No.
They're doing it because their parents in their mind think that this is what they need to do.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And I don't see a whole lot of backyard baseball anymore.
No.
I don't see that at all anymore.
No. I say this all the time. I'll be driving around with my wife and driving through a neighborhood. We went to Indianapolis here maybe a month and a half ago. I had to stop by and see one of our business partners up in Indianapolis, and we drove through a couple of neighborhoods. Do you know how many bicycles, backyard baseball, or pickup basketball games we saw in the 3 neighborhoods that we drove through? And I'm talking about, mind you, this was a Saturday.
Probably beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather, middle of the day, just in a suburb of Indy. Do you know how many of those things I described? Do you know how many of those we saw?
2.
0.
Yeah.
0. And I told my wife, I said, this is disconcerting.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, this was a prime day for we're playing something. And a lot of times, we played all the sports in the same day.
Yeah. Well, we're bored with baseball.
We're bored with baseball. Let's go play basketball.
We're bored with basketball. Let's go throw football.
Let's go play football.
Yeah.
And we did, my neighborhood, we did a lot of those all in the same day. And there was nothing for us to go out and shovel. The neighbor across the street had the concrete driveway with a basketball hoop. We would shovel snow off of that.
And go play.
Yeah. You just don't see that no more.
Yeah, don't see it anymore.
Don't see it no more. All right. Next one. Deal or no big deal? 9 and 10-year-olds throwing curveballs.
Big deal. I think it's a big deal.
Why? Why is it a big deal? And I'm going to tell you why I think it's no big deal.
So the idea of a 9 or 10-year-old throwing anything but a fastball, you could throw a changeup in there as well, but I don't think it's a very big deal for the arm care, anything like that. I think that stuff happens naturally, progresses naturally. I'm okay with them going up there. If they want to spin it, cool. But please find me a 9 or 10U kid that can actually spin a curveball. Actually get good break on it without it just...
Gravity?
Yeah. Please. If you can find that, I might change my stance. But there's not many out there.
I guess let me clarify when I say it's no big deal. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to the coach, the parent, to decide what their kid's going to do. As far as throwing it in a game, I'm not a big fan of that. But teaching a 9 and 10-year-old kid to throw a curveball, I'm okay with.
I'm okay with the teaching aspect of it, but the idea that you taught him it and he's gonna do it all the time and it's gonna be awesome, I don't see it very often, if at all. A lot of gravity.
I used to be dead set against it, with the fact that I didn't want kids on my team throwing curveballs until they were 12 years old. And then I had a coaching session with Jeff Zahn, one of the California Angels all-time greats, and he was a pitching instructor in Michigan. And I had talked to him one day, and I said, hey, could you possibly talk to my kids, a little bit about pitching and how your career went, and just basic information, right? And he agreed. Well, we get there on a Saturday, and he looks at me and he goes, Coach, he says, how many of your kids throw a curveball? This was, we were 11.
Yeah.
And I said, well, curveballs. Whoa, hang on. No. We don't throw no curveballs.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he says, well, why not? And I said, well, I think they're too young and their arms are not developed. And I went through all the standard answers, right?
Yeah.
And he says, okay, this is your team, Coach. Jeff Zahn, if you ever have the chance, if you're in Michigan to get a pitching instructor, highly recommend Jeff Zahn. Relates to the kids great, relates to the coaches great, and he's been there and done that. So he tells me, he says, okay, Coach, I understand. He said, do you mind if I talk to your kids before I start? And I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem. You do whatever you want. He walks up to this group of kids, and there was 12 of them all sitting around. We were indoors. And he looks at them and he says, how many of you guys have ever thrown a curveball?
Bet they all raised their hand.
Well, they all kind of like set up. They were on their knees, they all kind of sat there looking at their mom and dad. They're looking at me. And he's like, no. Don't look at them. Look at me. How many of you guys have thrown a curveball?
Bet they all raised their hand.
They all raised their hand.
Yeah.
So he asked one, he goes, who taught you how to throw your curveball? And he says, well, my older brother did.
Yep.
And he says, okay, well, show me what your older brother showed you. And he shows him, and he says, you know what, if you take your arm and you twist it like this and everything else, you look, sit down. Who taught you? He goes, well, the neighbor kid down the street. So then I'm kind of getting what he's talking about, right?
It's there.
And he looks at me and he says, Coach, my point is,
I'd rather teach him the right
if
way.
you don't show him the right way, the neighbor kid and the older brother are going to show him the wrong way, and then they're going to have problems.
100%.
So from that point forward, I'm like, show 9-year-olds, show 10-year-olds.
Show them how to do it.
Because that way, when the little brother or the neighbor kid says, hey, do this, he's going to be knowledgeable enough to say, no. I'm good.
I like my elbow.
I like what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I like my elbow.
So, yeah. All right.
So this last one I changed a little bit on you. So let's see what you think.
All right.
Kids using wristbands in the field. Big deal or no big deal? And what I mean by wristbands is they have it by their belt or whatever, and every pitch, every at-bat, whatever the case may be, kids using those.
It's no big deal.
No big deal?
No big deal.
Okay. I agree.
I know.
I think the production of the analytics and everything like that, I think it's a great idea. You start seeing, pitchers taking off their hats and looking in their hat for their, what their pitch sequence is, things like that. I kind of like the idea.
I mean, it's just a way of communication, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to deter. This goes back to sign stealing and everything of that. You're just trying to come up with a different way, numeric system, alphabetic system, whatever it is. I know I've been out of umpiring now for 2 years. I umpired. I don't know if you knew this, but I umpired for almost 30 years. And I've been out of it for the last couple of years. And I know the high schools made it a big deal for the players wearing these bands. And I never could understand why they made it a big deal. Still don't. And I don't know, maybe hopefully the Federation has changed their rules. I'm not sure. I can't speak to that. But it was like, you know what? These kids they're communicating. There's signs, alphanumeric, whatever it is. So it's not a big deal. Some people make it a big. It's not a good. It don't look good.
It doesn't look very good, but at the end of the day,
It looks like you're wearing, like when they put on their belt, it looks like they're wearing a fanny pack.
Yeah.
I mean, those went out in the 80s. I don't know why. I mean, the look's not there.
But
the wristbands, I don't have a problem with that.
What do you think about the new? I guess you see it in college and MLB both. The little number pad on their shin guard.
Oh, for the catchers, giving the signs that way?
Yeah, having the
well,
catcher have the thing.
they've got the Houston Astros and all that to thank for this.
Yeah.
But again, you go back to high school, it specifically says no electronic devices.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But how long is this going to last, right? I mean, some of these rules are going to be considered ancient. I mean, people look at me and they're like, well, your thought process is ancient.
Yeah.
Well, now these catchers have these electronic devices relaying to the pitcher, here's your pitch. But then, it takes away from the game. I was watching, I have the MLB package, which I think is the greatest thing ever. But you sit there and you watch games and they're, typing this in, and you see the pitcher. He's trying to listen, and he can't hear, and
all while the pitch clock is going on.
well, then it's like, well, what are we doing? Just go back to flashing. I mean, sure. Like if you're in an away environment and the crowd's loud, you're not going to be able to hear.
No, I agree.
So don't forget the art of flashing.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Awesome. All right, well, let's get on to the last thing here. We got the TBS Nationals coming up 1 week from today. Mm-hmm. My, the season has flown by.
It's going to be awesome.
Over 100 teams from 20 different states setting records here for the TBS Nationals for participation, not only in teams but in states. The talk about this tournament is huge in the youth baseball world this week. I mean, everybody's talking about this. Most of these teams are not playing this weekend because they're coming in here on Tuesday to get ready for all this. I'm excited. We're going to preview here a little bit of the teams that are coming. We offer an 8-year-old coach pitch division. This is a thing that we experiment with year after year with the 8-year-olds. It's kind of hard to get 8-year-olds to travel.
100%.
And it's actually hard to get 9-year-olds to travel for the most part. But we've got 5 of them coming in here. They're all excited about coming in. They're playing at E-Town. Yeah. They're playing in age-appropriate fields, 200-foot fences. So that's what they're most excited about.
I think that you're going to see a big, not necessarily market or following, but for the 8U division to offer it and have it, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, we've had it now for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think maybe 3 years ago it didn't make. But the year before that, we had 6 teams. This year we got 5. I mean, it's not. We just offer it to them, kind of introduce it to them.
Introduce the atmosphere,
the experience, the atmosphere.
TBS, what big market tournaments are. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So at 9U, we ended up with 14 teams. We had a couple teams drop out here late that left us with 14, but we still got 14 great ones.
Yeah.
A lot of high-ranked teams will be here.
Yeah, a lot of these teams that I've noticed have been on been on our top 25 list.
Yeah, they'll be here, and but at 9U, I talk to a lot of coaches, and they all have the same sentiment: is 9-year-olds are only as good as how they woke up that morning.
100%. Did they play in the pool all day yesterday or not?
Did they have Wheaties or Cheerios this morning for breakfast?
Yeah. How good were the hotel eggs?
Because that could send a 9-year-old right over the edge and ruin his whole day.
Yeah. You got teams like I remember the Traction Canes being on the list. That was a big one. One that I love seeing on here is the Mad Mavericks. We had them at a few of our versus events in the organization there. So
they do a good job out of Brentwood.
Awesome. Motor City Hit Dogs, incredible.
Yep, coming down out of Michigan. The defending champion in this age group will be back, which is VBA.
VBA, okay.
So I actually watched them. Actually, they played kid pitch. We had 8-year-old kid pitch last year.
Okay.
And ended up with 6 teams. And I'm going to tell you what, I enjoyed watching those 8-year-olds.
Really?
We've seen a few double plays, routine double plays, 6-4-3, 4-6-3 double plays.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so the kids at this level can play, and it was nice to see.
Good. Very good.
But yeah, we're gonna have this is open to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't at 9 because they haven't really played a full season. It's kind of hard to find teams to watch. I mean, other than VBA because they're the defending champs, so they're gonna have a big bullseye in their back.
They will.
But I mean, this is open. I could see easily any of these teams winning this division if things go their way. So
I agree.
The 10-year-old is absolutely
it looks stacked.
Stacked.
A couple of Louisville local teams that I'm very familiar with that I like seeing, come out to these tournaments.
24 of the better 10-year-old teams from across the country are coming in here to compete.
That's crazy.
We're going to have 6 pools of 4.
Okay.
You play everybody in your pool one time. Top 2 from each pool. Move on. And that's
awesome. I like that format, by the way.
You got to make the pool games matter so teams don't sandbag with their pitching.
Yep, I love that format.
I mean, this is just loaded with quality organizations.
You got an East Cobb Astros in here. You've got Razorbacks Salee in here. You've got Vipers Reynolds, Wow Factor. A lot of good teams. Again, you see Motor City Hit Dogs are in here. MMW Prime National.
Yep.
I mean, this is an absolute show.
Yeah.
I mean, this will be, for the younger kids, it's hard sometimes to go out there and watch consistently. I think the 9 and 10s that you have here are just absolutely incredible.
What I found from the 10-year-old division in the past, there's always that team that hasn't been on anybody's radar all year long.
And then they just come out of nowhere.
They come out of nowhere, and especially in this age group. So, that's one of the things that people have to watch out for.
Yep.
You have your traditional teams that are out here, but then you have your teams that nobody heard of, like Pittsburgh Outlaws,
Yep.
Out of Pennsylvania. You have
NV Stars is going to be another one to look out for.
Yeah.
Not very national, but pretty good.
Yeah, then you got some teams that changed names from last year too, like Wow Factor is a different name.
Yep.
Borough Baseball out of Ohio, they've got a different name, but it's still the same team that was good last year. So, can't wait to see this one. It's going to be exciting. Some teams were here, last year that performed really, really well, and they're back again this year. The defending champs are back, a Southern Finest,
Awesome.
out of Louisiana.
Yep.
So that'll be a good one. The 11-year-old division is
11
is another division that was hit by teams that dropped out late due to injuries and the economy, basically.
Yeah.
But we still got a field of 15 here, 3 pools of 5, and it's got some good quality teams in it that we're going to battle out to the end.
Yeah. One of the big ones is the Kangalosi Sparks. They're always a very good organization.
Yep.
Ironman Prime, just kind of getting revitalized, that Ironman name, coming back to fruition, and I think it'll be a good addition. Just overall, I think that the 11U, yes, okay, they're not the full 20 teams, but the 15 that you have here, stellar.
One thing I see at the 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds is puberty hasn't hit yet.
100%.
And so those teams,
anybody could go off.
it's a pure game of baseball at this age level. Unlike the next age group that we're going to talk about, which is a 12-year-old division, this is puberty laced, infested age division, and it is every year.
Teams on the old top 25.
Oh, we've got 25.
Oh my word.
25 of the best teams from across the country. We have the top 3 teams. 8 of the top 10 teams in the country will be here for this division.
It's going to be awesome.
This is, folks, if you enjoy youth baseball and you're around the Elizabethtown, Kentucky area, come on out and watch this age group, because it will not disappoint. And, the knock of playing in Cooperstown is they have 200-foot fences, and it's too small for the 12-year-olds. We've got 250-foot fences out here in Elizabethtown,
Gotta hit it.
and they still say 250 is too small for these high-level elite teams. And it is something to watch.
Yeah.
Good pitching, good hitting. You'll see kids at 12 years old. We'll have kids in the 80s throwing from the mound.
That's awesome.
And you'll have kids that they'll stand in there and take them deep. They're not scared about it.
Exactly.
The defending champ, and this is also back, ZT National Prospects out of California. They're coming back to defend their title.
Okay.
And they definitely have a big bullseye on their back.
Now, who are 2 and 3? Remind me. Or 2.
TG Diamondbacks, which is Tide
Diamondbacks.
Green. We talked about him earlier in the show.
Yep.
And SBA Marucci National.
Yeah.
They're actually number 1 right now. They just jumped ZT last week in our midseason rankings, so they're actually number 1.
That's awesome.
And ZT is number 3, and TG Diamondbacks is number 2.
That'll be an absolute amazing series. Whoever makes it out of that, or whoever's in the pools, that'll be incredible to watch.
I finally get to meet what I say is the best youth team name in baseball, and that is the Swamp Donkeys.
Swamp Donkeys.
I love that name. I've been touting them for years, and they're finally coming to Kentucky, so I get a chance to see them and meet them. I'm looking forward to seeing those guys.
That's awesome.
Wildcatters are sending a couple of dominant teams out of Texas.
Excellent.
Yeah, the Ace Cobb Astros will be here.
Yeah.
It's just loaded with talent. So if you guys get a chance, come on out. You want to watch this. This one's going to be the one to watch. And the 13-year-olds. 13s, absolutely brutal list here of teams. We've got 26 of the better teams from across the country.
Again, the defending champs have returned in the East Cobb Astros. They've got to be your odds-on favorite to win this year. They haven't lost a game, and they've played half their season up at 14, and they haven't lost a game yet.
Wow.
So, but there's some teams here that can definitely give them a run for their money. Apex out there, LBC Nationals out of Texas. Nobody to sleep on. Oklahoma Fuel, Motor City Hit Dogs, Parkland Pokers.
Yeah, Vipers Black, I know, has been doing the same thing here.
I mean, the Hammerhead. I mean, this. And the nice thing about this is it's a 60-90 event.
Yep.
So it's a little bit different.
You're gonna see some hard hit balls that, you know, doubles turn into triples. Triples could turn into some inside the park home runs.
Yep. Those balls that are hit up the middle that are fielded, now you're going to get thrown out of first base because you got to run a little further.
Yep, you got to run a little further.
Run a little further.
Now
So
farther back, so it's not going to be as big of a.
another prime age group out here that if you're in the area, come on out to the park.
Yep.
Watch these kids. If you've got young ones, bring them out and take a look and see what that next level teams, how they play and how they do things.
Yep.
How they carry themselves, pregame warm-ups and everything else. So can't wait. Everything starts a week from today.
Love it.
8:30 out at Elizabethtown Sports Park. Absolutely loaded field. So hopefully if you guys get a chance, come on out and say hi and watch some good baseball.
Sounds like a plan. See me on the skills field. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
We're going to have some fun.
So anything you want to say in conclusion here?
No, I'm good. We're excited to see everybody come out to TBS this next week, and you know, I want to see some homers hit on the home run field.
You're going to see quite a few.
I'm ready for it.
You're going to see quite a few. You're going to see some great pitching. So
I'm gonna be yelling and screaming out there. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna put on a show, and everyone's gonna love it. Everyone's gonna love it.
So come on out, folks. Come on out and join us out at the TBS Nationals coming up next Tuesday. Running through Sunday. We'll be out there all week. See some of the best baseball in the country being played by some of the best teams in the country. Want to thank you for tuning in and joining us today. On behalf of my co-host Aaron Smith and my producer Brandon Whitley, I am Rick Goff, and we will see everybody next week at the TBS Nationals.
Wait now.